Hello everyone, I'm Rachel Tessman from stampyourartout.com. I'm an independent Stampin' Up demonstrator from Andover, Minnesota in the US. And I'm here to bring you a special live paper crafting class because today we are featuring alternate projects that I've created with the paper pumpkin kit from this current month, June 2025. It's called Full of Charm. And today is Wednesday, June 25th, 2025 at 11 a.m. Central Time as I'm coming to you live. A big hello to all of you. A special welcome to all of you who are new to my channel. I hope that you enjoy and stick around. And a huge, huge thank you to my channel supporting members, my fans and supporting members. Those are the people who are commenting that you see the rhinestones next to their names and they get to use the special emojis. I have a cold again. Yes, a May cold and now a June cold. It's been an up and down month for our family. So I think just, it's calming down, by the way, but I think just all the stress of things going on, my body is just like, what are you doing? So it decided to kick in another cold for me, but it's a mild one. It's a mild one, and it's going to go away soon. Anyways, the Full of Charm kit. It is amazing, and I cannot wait to share it with you. So we're going to do step-by-step kind of things through a few of the projects, and then I'm just going to give you tips and hints for some of the others because I created too much. Again, I love creating alternates with kits. This is like one of my things. So I appreciate you tuning in, and I appreciate your kind comments. Please comment away. It's fun to read about the weather that you're having. By the way, in Ohio, I hear it's humid. I forgot who mentioned that, but who was that mentioned that? I loved your emojis. There it is, Melody, with your really hot, sweaty face. But don't worry because the weather that we get is coming your way. And right now, it's like rainy and coolish, so it's coming to you. Please say hello to Trisha Josephs. She is our moderator. She is here to answer questions. So if you have a question and your question hasn't been answered, let's say she didn't catch it, just type that @ sign, the A with a circle around it, and then start typing TRICIA. Josephs is her last name. You can tag her by clicking her name, and then she'll see it. It'll stand out more to her. Let's go down to the desktop, shall we? This is the kit. This is the one that we got this month. I do want to tell you, give you a little heads up that there were a couple delays. Stampin' Up told us that there would be delays because they had their day of service on the 11th of June. The 11th is usually when kits process, so there was a slight delay overall in the kits, but then there was a batch of kits that didn't get shipped out as quickly as they had planned on, and so those kits are also getting shipped out. A lot of you are receiving them now, which seems a little bit later than normal, but just know that there were a couple of reasons. So, oh my goodness, am I going to have to drink water throughout this live? It's hot in Northern California, says Linda. Yeah, a few of you were mentioning your 97. Oh, 107. Oh, it feels like 107. Okay. But yeah, I've been seeing 97 and yeah, into the hundreds soon, right? All right, so the Full of Charm kit. It comes with, and all our kits come with, these flyer type pamphlet things, the direction sheets that have visual directions so that no matter what language you speak, you can create with them. And then, of course, you get a stamp pad, a little mini stamp pad called a spot, and you get stamps with your kits. They're wrapped up in this beautiful blue tissue paper that you could use for gift wrapping or creating or whatever. And then inside your box, you have, and I cut it just a little bit to get it started here, we have all the supplies. All the supplies are in here, including that direction sheet that I pulled out already because that was from my other kit. So you'll see that pop out on the back side. There it is. Also, on the back side, you see this sheet, and that gives you an idea of what the stamps are that come in the kit. Now, if you look closely at the stamps, they are called distinctive stamps because there's kind of dark and light areas done with little dots. So Stampin' Up has a line of stamps, distinctive, they show depth. And so I'm going to give you a little tip for stamping with them for ink pads that are juicy or whatever, because sometimes we get ink pads that are a little juicy or we ink them too much or whatever. Okay, and then we got in here our adhesives, our glue dots, our dimensionals, and then our embellishments. We have a roll of tear and tape. We have our envelopes, and then we have all the consumables that we need for our kit. And it's backed by this nice stiff cardboard so that it stays in good condition through the shipping process. You have card bases. There's a third card base, because you get to make, with this kit, you get to make 9 cards, 3 of 3 different designs. That has actually become like the norm lately, hasn't it? Let me see if we got them all in here. Yes, so there they are. And then we also have our sheets that have punch out pieces, little die cut pieces. You have 3 of those sheets. Here's the other one. And then we have 3 of these sheets, and we have 3 because we have 3 of 3 different kinds of cards, right? So all of these little elements punch out, this ephemera pieces punch out, and they can be tacked down onto our cards. You also get little labels. These are for sentiments for stamping onto. And here again are the stamps that you get with the kit. They look like this, and then you mount them onto a clear block, and they're ready to use. Now I like to use, instead of the ink spot that comes with the kit, I like to use my bigger ink pads. And it's going to be great today because I'm going to show you that whole distinctive issue with our bigger ink pads, which tend to come a little juicier. If you're using the spots, that's fine. It should work just fine because they're the felt pads, but these are the firm foam pads. And sometimes the juiciness has to be, there's a trick. I'll just show you the trick. But you can see that there's 4 labels for each of these. That's because if you make a mistake when stamping a label piece, it's nice to have another. So you get an extra one of all of those. Let's set all of these over here for a minute, and I'm going to bring in a scrap piece of paper and some tools and some stamps. Let's bring our stamp that has the leaf on it, which I do have ink on it, but I can stamp it. Oh, it's barely any ink. I think it's just stained. So this is the giant leaf image that looks like this. Really, I love that one. I love leaves. And here's our classic pad in the firm foam. Now what I did earlier today is I took one of my re-inkers, which is the Pretty Peacock re-inker, and I touched some ink onto one side over here, okay? Just juiced it up a little bit more than normal. And then you always want to use like a credit card edge or something, you know, kind of straight and smooth and plasticky to kind of move that ink around to flatten it out. But you'll notice here that this side of my ink pad, which I didn't juice up yet, and this side of my ink pad are a little bit different. Can you tell there's a little bit difference there? This is juicier, okay? And if you have an overall juicy ink pad, there, we really got into the juicy spot there. If it's really juicy, you're not going to get that clarity on distinctive stamps. So I recommend a couple things. For the juicy ink pads, get a dauber, and you can ink it up the dauber wherever you want. But what it does is it really kind of gives you a more even and softer look to your stamping. And you can see I inked it up in the juicier part of my ink pad too. And now we have some clarity to that stamp. It's more distinctive. Another thing that you can do if you want a softer look is you can pull in the blending brushes. That's the wrong color. Hang on. Shaded spruce. Where's my peacock one? Oh, I bet it's in the other container. Oh, all right. I did have it. Oh, it's in this one. It's in this one. Okay. So I have my blending brush, and I'm going to take and ink up my blending brush, and then I'm going to go like this. And what it's going to do is it's going to soften up that ink even more. It's going to make it almost like a stamped off image, but very even looking. So if you really, really want some distinction on the dark and light in your pads, that would be a great way to go. We have different sizes. We have the large and the small. In the supply list that's in the direction of my, or the description of my video right now, you can see that the regular ink blending brushes are listed in there, but I'll try to change that because I'm not quite done with my blog post. Again, we have a lot going on. And so I will fine tune that after the video is done. So so that both blending brushes are in there. But that is something I wanted to point out to you. Let's just go to blending brushes for a minute. And we're going to take a peek at some cardstock too. Okay, so here are the two whites that Stampin' Up! Carries. We have the one white in 12 by 12 and 8.5 by 11. So this is the thick basic white. This is regular basic white, but you have the thick in 12 by 12, 8.5 by 11, and then we have white willow, which is a cooler white, and it's only in 12 by 12. You can choose, but I do think that the white willow, goes better with the kit white, which is a little bit deeper and darker. Can you believe that a white is deeper and darker? But you can see it's got a cooler tone to it rather than a warmer tone. For this card, it really doesn't matter. I've got a piece of basic white cardstock, which I have cut in half and I've scored. And I now have a 4 1/4 by 5.5 inch folding card base. Okay. I'm glad that you like the tip on the blending brush, you guys. Thank you. So we have our card base, and we're going to bring in a color called Pool Party. And I'm not sure if I have this listed in the products yet either. I'm kind of flying by the seat of my pants again today. That's okay. That's okay. Okay, this is a huge, beautiful element from the kit. Look how gorgeous this is. In fact, if I put it down on the paper, you can see it even better. So we're going to take and flip it over, and we're going to lay it right here. And then we're going to grab a dauber, because we're going to start with a dauber. I need Pool Party. Pool Party, there it is. Okay, so we're going to take our dauber. We're going to hold this in place, and if you want to, you could put sticky notes down or whatever. But I'm just going to kind of go around the flower, and I'm going to daub on my color. And I'm doing it on the back side of the flowers because I want my flower on the front side to still be used for another card. So I chose wisely on the color. I chose a color that I thought was gonna work if it soaked through a little bit. Like, let's say I put too much ink onto the surface of this little die cut piece, right? And it soaked through. So if it soaks through, then it should still coordinate, hopefully, because the flower on the other side has kind of a Pool Party-ish, well, a bluish look, I should say. It's kind of a light peacock. And then it also has kind of like a crumb cake look. Now, I'm going to stop with the dauber. I'm going to set this here just to keep that die in place. And we're going to bring in a blending brush now. You don't have to assign a color to every blending brush. I do, but you don't have to. You can use all the light blues with all the light blues, all the dark blues with all, you know what I mean? It's okay. So we're going to keep that in place, and now we're going to blend. And this will give you a softer, hazy look, but the problem is it pulls on some places on your design. And you can't really tack the whole thing down. I mean, you could use like a temporary glue and then try to peel up any temporary glue. But I just want to show you that on the edges of this, after you've done kind of your daubing, is that a word? Your daubing in place, you can come around the edges and you can soften it. So I'm going to pull this away. I can always finish it later, but you can see what's happening on that as I'm getting this stenciled look. Here is one done with crumb cake, okay? So crumb cake, Pool Party, something light though. If you go too dark, then it's really going to go through and it's going to juice up the other side of this beautiful thing here, this beautiful piece. So we still want to use that on another card. I'm going to pull that away. So stenciling, you can do stenciling. Another thing, let me pull this in. Another thing that's great is the negatives. So if you have the negatives still saved from your paper pieces, and now we'll just go ahead and bring in Pretty Peacock. We'll bring that piece in again. We'll put this away. Tidy up. Got to tidy up as we go. All right, so for Pretty Peacock, we need our blending brush. Oh, that was in here. It was in here. Here, it's gone. Okay, so our blending brush disappeared. Rachel's already losing stuff. Found it. That's my uplines thing. Found it. Love it. Okay, so now we have our pretty peacock, and we're going to do some blending. And you can do it with a blending brush, you can do it with a dauber, but I'm just going to show you again. See this little delicate piece here? This little piece here could get pulled up if you're pulling or pushing or whatever too much. So I'm starting with the blending brush just to see what I can get. And then I think I'm going to come in with my dauber. Here it is, pretty peacock. I label them so that I don't mess up. And I have, by the way, a lot of these things that you're seeing that are non-Stampin' Up! Products, like the re-inker holder, the dauber holder, these containers like this, my glue holders, labels from a label maker. Those are all listed in my favorite extras on my website. Okay, so now we can take and pounce up and down, and we can add some even more deeper color throughout. And let's just kind of pounce in that one spot because we don't want that to pull. And we're coming up with, and you got to be careful on the edges too, right? Because we don't want to go outside the edges. You could always take and put some tape there. But this is what you can get, is you can get some beautiful artwork, almost like a stamp image, from just the stenciling that you do. Actually, let's keep that open. Let's put this off to the side. Let's bring this piece in and the other elements from that card, which are here. And there was one more piece. We'll just pull this one in. Okay. Do you see it's got a little bit of pretty peacock around the outside edges there? So we're going to stamp on that with one of the stamps from the set. I think we'll do Let's Celebrate You because that's my favorite one. There's so many reasons to celebrate somebody throughout the year. So let's go ahead and stamp that. I'm going to place this on my grid paper so that the 2 points are going along the same line. And that way when I stamp this down, I can just look at the horizontal lines on my grid paper to make sure that my words are straight. Hopefully I got them straight. Okay, now we can put this on with dimensionals, and I'm just using extra dimensionals. Again, dimensionals come in your kit, okay, but you're gonna run out if you're doing alternates like I do. So it's always good to have a stash. They come in a couple different sizes, so you could do the large and the small. You can even do the package of black dimensionals, and then you would get, you know, be able to use those with dark cardstocks. Really cool. Okay, let's trim this because there are actually a couple pieces in here. So we're going to trim it right along here so that we have this beautiful little sprig. And we'll use our precision tip bottle, another one of my favorite extras that I have in that section of my website. Again, shop, then go down to favorite extras. And I like to put my glue just on the closer to the stem part so that these leaves can have the ability to kind of fly where they want to go. And we'll tuck that in and around like that. And then this one, we can do the same thing where we put just a little bit of glue towards the base and on the stem. And then we'll just wrap that one in and around. And I'll probably put like some embellishments on there, but that's a fun, easy card to do, an alternate card to do if you haven't used up those stencils yet, right? Or those die cuts yet. Use them as stencils, make a bunch of these, and then you can always punch out circles or whatever. Let's say you run out of these accent leaves. Okay, so I'm showing you things that you can do with extra pieces because I know a lot of you by now have dove into your kits. So if you have used up your accent pieces, there are coordinating products. The Hugs a Bloom dies, I just checked it, and in the US it's sold out. So by the last kit of the quarter, this is sold out, but this leaf and this flower are meant to coordinate with this kit. So if you have those, you could use them. Otherwise, there's also a new suite that's going to debut on July 11th in the online exclusives. And Charming Day dies are a part of that. This die here and this die here work so well to pair up with this piece here. Let me show them to you. All right. So we have that piece from the kit, but this is this die. It's a similar shape. The leaves are similar. This is from the kit. This is cut from Pretty Peacock cardstock with that die. We also have this piece. Wait. I already have that one. We have this piece from the kit. Okay, so here's another piece from the kit. You can see how those really work well. And then if you want that more rounded look, this is that die done with Mossy Meadow cardstock. Okay, so let's put those off to the side and let's bring in the next project. The next card that I want to share with you is actually inspired from a couple people who are in the Paper Pumpkin Fan Club. And if you don't know what the Paper Pumpkin Fan Club is, it's a group on Facebook that I started years ago. And it has grown to thousands and thousands of people. It's amazing. And we have people sharing all the time, every day. I'm just going to pull up to give credit to Arlene Delogowitz. I hope that's how you say your name. And to Laura Secchi. Both of them have created a card that is a Z-fold card using this piece from the kit. And I'm covering it up because I actually added some yellow to it already. Oh, here it is. This piece here. Okay. What I did is I started sponging on some yellow. So I'm doing a slight variation of what their card looks like, but they're using this piece simply to accent a Z-fold card. It's amazing. It's a really pretty card. So I've got some yellow that I've added in with my blending brush using the Lemon Lolly color, Lemon Lolly. And then I've also brought in some basic white cardstock and I've added some of that Lemon Lolly down here. That piece is going to go in this spot. So that's why I wanted Lemon Lolly on both pieces, because I wanted it to be kind of like a sunlit focal point. I'm going to close up this ink because we're not using Pretty Peacock on this at all. We're going to score. So if you've never done a Z-fold card before, you're going to cut your cardstock in half. Whoops, hey, there's an extra strip sitting around. You're going to cut it in half at 5.5 inches. So that's how you get this half sheet of cardstock. Then you're going to turn it in this direction and you're going to score twice. We're going to first score in the middle because half of 8.5 is 4 1/4. So we're scoring at 4 1/4. And then we're going to score half of that, which is 2 1/8. Okay, we have 2 fold lines. That's what scoring is. You can see the score lines on there. We're going to fold this one back and we're going to fold this one forward so that we have a mountain and a valley. Okay, and this becomes a Z-fold card because it looks like the letter Z. Now we'll use our bone folder. Back of a butter knife is also something you can use if you don't have it all or you're new to paper crafting. Your finger, you can use your finger. And you're just going to crease to give that a folded look that's nice and crisp. Okay, and then we're going to take and add this to the front of the card. Showing you a very simple idea here, but you can go further with it, and I hope to do so too after this video is done, and then I post it in my, oops, we don't want to put in there, and I post it in my blog. So I want to just add dimensionals into this section because this is the section that's going to attach to the front portion of the card. So I'm laying this down here, just adding dimensionals in strategic spots. I think I'll do another one up here. So we just have dimensionals in this section. When I flip it over, that's what it's going to stick down onto. So let's do that. Peel off all the backings. So yeah, I don't have the blog post done yet. Thank you so much, Trisha, for sharing the supplies. Okay, we're going to push that into the corner. She's amazing, you guys. She's like 100% amazing. And then you can see you've got that on the front of the card. When you open it up, you have even more sunshine. And this is where you can stamp your sentiment. So let's say we clean off that Let's Celebrate You stamp. We're going to clean it off with our scrub, Stampin' Scrub, and our Stampin' Mist, or your chamois. Wash and dry. And now I'm going to take and ink up half of the stamp in one color, that's Berry Burst, and half of the stamp in the other color, that's Old Olive. So we'll ink up Let's Celebrate, and we'll ink up You. And now we can take and stamp that into the center of this side of the card. Oh, and we have to actually think about where it's at. We're going to stamp it over a little bit. We're going to stamp it further so it gets covered up. You got to think smart when you're doing Z-fold cards. Ta-da! Isn't that cute? And when you sign it, you want to make sure you're signing in this area too. You could put some little fun accents up there. They do have for us these gold sequins. They stick, they're self-adhesive, so I could put some of those up there. Or I could go through my stash and see if there's something else that I want to add on there. But very simple card, but I love the idea of just using that whole element as the main focal point. Okay, we're going to keep the peacock color in here because we'll probably come back to that. Let's go to a step-by-step now, the full step-by-step for a card that I'm calling the Landscape, now if I can think of the name of it, Landscape Diamond Display Card. It was requested, and so I'm going to share that. We've got this piece that I had said I don't want to lose. We're going to use that. We're also going to use this card base that looks like, and let's see if I have one over here to show you because I've already trimmed into this one. This card base that looks like that. We're going to use some designer paper. We're going to use a strip of paper, and we're going to use a card base. So the designer paper that I'm pulling from is our amazing, and if I have the backing to it here, it is called Floral Impressions, and it's new as of May. Gorgeous paper, right? It has an A side and a B side to it. Do you see all of that? Pretty colors, very pretty designs, pretty colors. We're using this, this design here. So we're going to use the B side of that last sheet because that pool party color really goes well with peacock. Okay, and it's light enough where it doesn't distract and it makes this stand out. So if we put this on a white card base, it's going to stand out really well. We're now taking our white cardstock and we're going to use our white willow, I believe this time. Yep, white willow. So we're going to trim that down from our 12 by 12. And we're going to make a card that opens landscape-wise. So I've done this diamond display card before, inspired by a swap that I got, and I'm sure that the name was different, but I thought display worked with the diamond shape because there's like a little diamond that forms. So we want a sheet that is 11 by 4 1/4. So let's go ahead and cut this here. And then we're going to score this, and we're going to score it in 3 places so that we can fold it in those 3 places. We'll first score it in half at 5 1/2 inches because that is a basic card, right? This is a basic card opening in the landscape version. Now we're going to score it a couple more times, and we're going to score inward on this side and on this side, so you only have to remember 2 measurements. Your middle at 5 1/2, and then your 2 3/4, flip it around, 2 3/4. By the way, do you know, a lot of you know that this locks in place. When you're using the Stampin' Up! Trimmer, this little part here locks, and it helps so that when you're traveling with it, it doesn't pop open all the time. So you almost, have to just get in the habit of opening it up there, and I forget to do that. So then sometimes I just kind of lift and slide. All right, so 2 3/4. So, oh, and look what I did already. Oh, my goodness, because I have daubers in the way. We want the card to look good, so we're doing that again. And that's okay because it gives you directions one more time. We're going to cut at 4 1/4 inches. And then we're going to score. Actually, we're going to cut again, so it's 11 by 4 1/4. half of an 8.5 by 11 sheet, and now we're going to score it 5.5, and then twice 2 3/4 by, see, I just kind of, there, let's lift it up, Rachel, and 2 3/4. All right, so there are our 3 score lines, and you're going to zigzag them to give you kind of a W look. All right, and then you're going to press with your bone folder so that these score lines are nice and crisp. Next, we're going to work with this piece, and this piece is currently 1 3/4 inches by 9.5. Can't see that down there, sorry about that, by 9.5. We're going to score this piece, and the width, by the way, can vary. It can be different. It doesn't have to be 1 3/4. But I just thought that that size worked really well for this piece. We're going to score at 2 3/4 again. Now we're going to go 1 inch, 2 inches, and 1 inch. So let's add that as we go. Pull the arm out. So 2 3/4 plus 1 inch, 3 3/4, plus 2 inches, 5 3/4, plus 1 inch, 6 3/4. You should have those score lines on there. Do you see them? So we're going to score in, out, out, in. So we have that look. Oh, and before I put this away, one more thing. Now we're going to trim off just a little bit. We're just going to cover up the dark side of that channel there to trim off a little bit here and a little bit here. It's not quite a 1/16 of an inch, but it can be. Just don't go beyond that. We just want to cut off just a little bit. That's going to help it to fit into the card better. So this is going to be a little mechanism that looks like this. And when it opens up, it actually looks like a diamond. Do you see the diamond? It's upside down. But that is why I called it the diamond display card, because this little mechanism turns into a diamond. So let's score all of those, or fold all of those. Do you remember this card? This was just a couple kits ago. And so, yeah. All right, here we go. Let's put it together. I'm singing while I'm cutting. A little tip for cutting is move the paper and not your scissors as much. It's good to rotate your paper as you go, and try to cut consistently. Make sure that you're cutting the same distance apart all the way around. There we go, round that off. Save this for another card. It's beautiful paper. In fact, I'm thinking 4th of July. Okay, so we have our pieces from our designer paper. These are 2.5 by 4. We have 4 of them. We're going to stick them onto the panels here. A lot of you are like, oh my gosh, you're putting tape on that beautiful side here, but it would be too distracting to have that and that. That's just too much color. So sometimes we need those B sides of the designer paper. And it's just a little bit more than cardstock, right? It gives you that texture, just a little bit more textured look to it. Visual texture, I should say. Let's flip it over. Let's do the same thing to the other side, and then we're going to stamp. Oh, look at that. I ran out. You guys get a little tutorial on how to replace. You just push to pop this open. You grab it, pull it out. Then you take a new one. You can use this end and just pry it open, but I don't like to try to get my fingers in there, so I just trim it. Put this so that the words are, again, towards the bottom. That piece goes in the hole there. That goes into the middle, and it just sets right into place there. It's so easy, you guys. This is like one of the easiest adhesives to change out that I've ever used. All right, let's add adhesive and stick. Did I get adhesive there? I did. So this goes on this side. If you have a larger pattern, make sure that your patterns are kind of going consistent, right? But this paper, it doesn't matter. Oh, along with that Charming Day set of dies, is that what it was called? Charming Day, yes. Where did those dies go? Charming Day dies coordinate with the Charming Day stamp set. So do you remember those outline dies that were in there? These are and I think they're up here. Or is that just the envelope? Yeah, they're somewhere around here. Obviously, we don't need them again. But these dies, there are dies that will cut out these images. Then there's those detailed dies that did the leaves. You know what I mean? But that's a bundle, but it's part of a suite. So I want to show you really quick. Let's see if I can pull that up. We're going to go to my website. You guys ready to take a little field trip? Let's take a field trip over to the computer really quick. So on my website at stampyourartout.com, you're going to scroll down and you can click on either my blog or you can click on one of these posts from my blog. Let's just click on that one. Scroll down. And in this area are all the new promotional things going on. Online exclusives coming soon. Click here for a flyer. Okay, it's going to open up this new window, and here is images of that suite that will be available July 1st that coordinates with this kit. It's the Charming, it's called what is it called? The Charming Day is the stamp set. What's the paper called? Floral Charm. Floral Charm Suite. So you have designer pack of 12 by 12 paper, and that's why I wanted to point that out, because we're using a different pack of paper because I didn't get this yet. But either one of these, see, this has B sides to the paper too. I think any of those would probably work pretty well, although I do like the lighter blue. But I just wanted to show you that, that's going to be part of that suite on July 1st too. Okay, so we have our panels on there. We're making this the inside of our card, and we're going to adhere. So this is going to get stuck in here like this. So to do that, we want to put tape or adhesive or glue or tear and tape or whatever you want right into that little rectangular area. We're going to insert that into the card in the middle, and we're going to squish it flat. Okay? And we're going to shift it. I guess Rachel didn't get it in the right spot. Hang on. If you twist it, it can come off easier. Okay, we're going to stick it in there. There, that looks good. Okay, and then the next side, same thing. We're going to put adhesive here and here. And you especially want to get it up in here, right where that crease is. And that's going to connect on the other side. But you have to kind of do it together. So we're going to lay that in there. We're going to press this down, and now it will all line up and it will be able to lie flat. Then test it. Flat, flat. What I'm doing is I'm moving that thing back and forth on the back side. This piece is going to go onto here. Oh my gosh, who did all that lovely cutting? One of my favorite ways to add adhesive is to just add a little bit of that glue onto a silicone sheet, and to take a sponge, just get these on Amazon, and get your sponge gluey, get it gluey, and we're just going to put it in the center. See, that's the one we used for the stenciling. We're just going to put it in the center of this flower, and this flower, maybe through here, just a couple little points. That's all we need. And we're going to line it back up with our image down here. I'm looking at the leaves because those are like images that are outside. We'll shift it. We'll tack it on those areas. We don't have glue everywhere, which is great. It's not good to have glue everywhere because then it gets really messy. But we have a piece that has an opaque background that can attach to this. So now we just take and we put on some adhesive here, whether it's glue or tape or whatever you want. That just has to fit in there by covering up that white rectangular area. Oh, we forgot to stamp on the back. Remember I said we have to stamp on the back next? Har, 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 har. Okay, we didn't do that. So we're going to have a little bit of awkwardness when we do that. You have to stamp before you adhere this center stuff. It has to be flat because you can't flatten this out. So you have to have it bent and you have to stamp. I'll just show you the finished one, okay? You also want to put accents on, little accent pieces, and maybe some extra words. But where do you write on this card? You can't write on the inside because the inside is like controlling how it stands and you can't get your fingers in there. And who can read in there? It's a display card, obviously, diamond display card, and it looks like this when it's standing. It's so pretty. And it lays flat this way or this way. The back side is where you're going to do your writing. So you want to stamp, you want to write. You can always do your writing later, but your stamping for sure needs to be done right away. And then you can see I've added some of those gold sequins on there, and they pop out and they just glitter up the whole thing when it's on display. So that is another card you can make. If you are feeling patriotic, this time of year for the U.S. is the time of year when we celebrate our independence. So we have a holiday called Independence Day. And a lot of people always say, why don't we have 4th of July kits or Independence Day kits? We did one time. But we realized that we were using these kits with other people besides people just in the U.S. I just decided I would throw in this little version here so that some of you can do that if you want to. So we're going to take and trim off this piece, this half of the card, and you can trim it in half or trim it into multiple pieces if you want to get lots of cards out of one piece. But I just thought that looked very festive for the 4th of July because it's got little gold things flying in the air like sparklers. Then I thought to myself, ooh, wouldn't it be fun if we did a little bit of resist? So with blending brushes and foiled papers, the foiled areas will resist ink. It's so cool. So we're going to bring in Azure Afternoon, which is a pretty pure blue. It's lighter, but it's a nice patriotic blue in the light version. We're going to ink up our blending brush, kind of start off onto our scrap paper a little bit, and then we'll just start blending up from the bottom like this to give it a fun kind of ombre-ish kind of look. Love it. So pretty. In fact, I think I saw yesterday that Stampin' Up's artisan team did some alternates with a lot of blending brushes, and this was one of the favorite techniques, was to do it on the foiled paper. Then you just take a tissue and you wipe to get any excess blue ink that might be sitting on the surface of the foiled area. And you can see it's still got the gold sheen. It's so pretty. Now you can take and add that to your card base with a red layer or maybe a blue layer, I don't know, but red, white, and blue. And then you can take and cut out some vellum leaves. Vellum isn't something that Stampin' Up sells anymore, but I have a link to it in my favorite extras. And then you can cut out some Azure Afternoon leaves. And I didn't do this on my original because I thought of it like 3 days later, but take a peek at this. You can make a little celebrate card. So we're going to tuck that in there. Just give it a little bit more blue. See how pretty that is? In fact, I'm going to peel this off and do it because I want to show you that. By the way, if you're in Minnesota near me in the Twin City area, we are having a good rainfall coming down right now. Ooh, I put adhesive all the way around this puppy. You guys, oh my goodness. We might just have to make a new one. We might have to do a new one. Well, well, well. Okay, now it's coming up. Okay, so I'm going to peel this off because I take cards apart that I make all the time. If you pull in 2 different directions, it really works well. If you're pulling just one paper up, you're going to sometimes tear it. So you kind of have to shimmy and shift, and it likes to stick back down again, and then you do that dance where you twist it. Okay, let's stick this down. Get that adhesive rolling. I just love the extra blue in there. This paper, oh, that is from this same set. Where did it go? Floral Impressions. That is that piece right there. Okay, so I grabbed more designer paper, the B side, just for that little look there. And then again, the vellum leaves, the blue leaves. This was my extra circle sentiment piece, stamped "Let's Celebrate" on it in the real red cardstock. This piece here is my white willow cardstock. I'm going to show you another version. There's another patriotic red, white, and blue card. So if you guys would like to make some Happy 4th of July cards to send to family, this paper with the foiled gold is just stunning. And this "Let's Celebrate," how did you do that? Well, I just inked up the "Let's Celebrate" instead of the U. And that's how I got that. So there we go. And this is red card base, real red cardstock. Okay, you ready for one more? All right, do you remember when we did that, the stenciling, with our scrap? So I made some cards to show you how to triple the cards in the kit. Because I have to do that every time. So I took a third of the kit. I took the supplies to make one of this card, one of this card, and one of this card. And I turned the elements from those 3 cards and the 3 envelopes into 9 cards. If you do that with all of your cards, you can get 27 cards, okay? So 9 cards times 3 is 27. Yes, so each of these multiplied by 3. So I did it with just one set because I wanted to use my pieces from other cards for something else, obviously. This is using an envelope. So it's just the front of an envelope. Remember I told you that we used the envelopes also. So I used the front of the envelope, cut it down to give a layer. My card bases are Pretty Peacock cardstock. So I just used a bunch of Pretty Peacock cardstock, cut them, scored them all the same way. The layers that are inside are going to be from your envelopes as well. So this side can create an inside layer. This side can create 2 inside layers if you trim the whole thing open and cut it into 2 pieces. You can also use, because you're going to be bringing in some extra envelopes from an outside, which is our basic white envelopes. Oh, they're underneath here. Basic white envelopes. Okay, so you can also use these if you're going to buy them anyways. You're going to be using the Pretty Peacock and the basic white. You might as well use this for more white cardstock if you don't have some on hand. And then you can do even more white layers that you might need. So I took and I did the stenciling. Then I took and I used that extra leaf from that stencil. So this is the one that you punch out, and this is the stencil. Did those into that spot, stuck this one down. This is just an extra piece of envelope paper, just a strip of it that's a 1/2 inch wide by 2 inches, sorry, 1/2 inch tall, 2 inches wide, and then I put some sequins in there. So that's one card. Then I took the base of this piece and I actually cut it into 3 pieces. So I first took it in my trimmer and I cut it in this direction at 5.5. That's going to put the cut right there. This piece here is 5.5, 3 inches, 3 inches tall. And these are 2 3/4 inches because you're going to now take this section and you're going to cut it in half that way. So you can get 3 card layers from one of these. So let's look at that 3rd card layer. Okay, so here's that. This is the wide one. You can see it's slightly wider than these 2. These 2 have a score line through them. So I conveniently covered up the score line with another strip of envelope paper, and that envelope paper is 3 1/4 by 1/2 inch tall. Okay, that's how big that is. We used some sequins in there, using the Pretty Peacock ink throughout, by the way. I didn't bring in any extra ink for this. Cut my flower in half, put one half on one card and one half on the other card. Here's one of the sentiment pieces. You can see I raised it up on dimensionals, stuck down a couple small sequins on there for extra gold. And then on this piece, I trimmed that down. So this piece here from the kit, I trimmed right through this area here, right through there. And then I sliced it straight with my trimmer to get a 4 1/4 inch tall piece for another card. So this piece is right there. Really pretty, right? Super pretty. The next card that I'll show you is the one with that leftover 4 1/4 inch tall piece. So here we have the dotted background card. And that dotted background came from, of course, this card, right? So it had the floral piece, and then on the other side it had the polka dots, and it looks like this. So here's this one cut into two pieces. So I trimmed it right at the score line, cut it not in half, but I cut the flower in half. So this one here is slightly smaller. It measures 2 5/8, and this one measures 2 7/8. Okay, so I just cut it so that this flower was more in half, so that it looked like there was enough flower on each side. Okay, let's come back to those for a minute. But this piece on this side, I cut to 4 1/4 inch tall, right, by 4 inches wide, so that I'd have some Pretty Peacock layering on the sides, all sides of it. This little extra piece from that sits right there on dimensionals, and then this is again from, actually this is from the extra cutout. That has gold flecks on the back side. That's from this extra piece right here that I trimmed off. And that measures 1 1/2 by 1 1/2. Okay? All right, so there's that one. And now these two explained. Let's see here. This one, I added some extra leaf stamping. I don't think I did any extra stamping on the other ones. I did, I did stenciling on the first one. But here I added that leaf stamp, stamped it fully, and then stamped it again without re-inking to give a little bit more peacock color on the white layer. But I also wanted some leaves coming out from the side, and only from that side. So thank you, Tanji. So I thought it'd be fun if I shift this over and have it angled this way instead of this way, so that it made sense why I had extra leaves on this side. So there's the extra leaves coming out, just a stamped thank you on the bottom and a little sequin. This one, just a stamped miss you, some extra leaves, but because they're kind of even, I kept that one in the middle. I actually put it up on dimensionals too to give it some shadow, and then put leaves in both directions underneath on those corners. And then we have these two cards, and these are the last ones done with this card layer. And this card layer, you can see, is not even. This one is off center and this one's centered. So you want to keep that in mind when you're making this card. So because this one's off center, I thought it'd be fun to have kind of some balance onto the right side of it, and that's where I put that extra bunching of leaves, the Mossy Meadow ones and the flower. That's up on dimensionals, and then these are kind of tucked in around it. So I put this on first and then stuck that around. This layer, by the way, is trimmed down evenly on all four sides. Both of these are, so that this stays, oh, there we go, so that this stays centered looking. So I cut off a 1/16 of an inch, 16th, 16th, 16th. Same thing on this one, just for a slight peacock blue layering, okay? And then this is that full piece, but you can see I added some stamped leaves in there with the Pretty Peacock ink. The only thing up on dimensionals is this, but you can see some shadows here because I took my bone folder and I gave a little bit of curl to the edges there. Lots, you guys, lots, lots, lots. Okay, let's spread these out a bit so we can see them all. I created a lot. Oh, I have to show you. There's, I think it's this one, yeah. So on this card, I did some stamped leaves on the inside, and on this one, some stamped leaves. But those are the only ones that have a fancy envelope layer on the inside. Okay, and then we also did the other ones, right? So we did this, thanks to the inspiration from those two gals from the Paper Pumpkin Fan Club, which I will finish up. But there's that card. And we have this one. So much. There's so much. And we have this card. And I think, oh, the red, white, and blue ones. There we go. Lots. We did lots today. Lots of cards. I didn't get to pages. And please forgive me for that. But that just means that I need to post again because I have 2 page ideas in mind. One's a single page and one's a double page 12 by 12 layout. So I will be posting more paper pumpkin ideas later on, a couple weeks out. But I hope that you enjoyed these. Let me think what else I want to share with you. I'm going to move that away for just a minute. Come back to my list. The kits. If you're not a kit subscriber, it's really easy and it's painless. You basically subscribe. And if you're not sure if you want to do it, subscribe for the month to month, the pay as you go. And basically what happens is if you don't like them, you stop it. You don't have to commit to any number of months, right? You just get the first kit and you're like, this isn't for me, or whatever you want to say, and then you stop your subscription. It's easy, but you're going to love them. Most of you will love them. In fact, they're just addicting. And so $27 plus tax. The shipping is included in the price. They ship out to you, come out to your mailbox. Everybody gets their kits at the same time, and we open them up, well, around the same time. We open them up, and it's a surprise inside. We get little hints, but overall, it's a surprise inside, and it's so fun to see all of that. So please subscribe. Give it a try if you haven't, or resubscribe if it's been a while. There's a link in my description of my video. The next kit, let me see if I can find that information. The next kit, because you wouldn't be getting this kit if you subscribe now, but the next kit, and I'm going to bring you over there so you can see it. Oh, so fun. I'm excited about this one. Here it is. The July Paper Pumpkin Kit is called Sweeter With You. There are strawberries in it. And then there's a whole new set of dies that are going to be coordinating with the July, August, and September kits. And you can already see that there's like little strawberry toppers and bases and oh my gosh. So check it out. Make sure that you give it a try if you haven't, you guys. It's so important to try things, right? The other news that's coming up, let's see here. The Sweet sale is almost over. If you have not gotten in on Stampin' Up's Sweet Sale, basically you get buy one, get the second for 50% off any product from a suite or any suite. If you have a couple suites in mind that you've wanted, that's a big savings. Even if you have a couple embellishments in mind, it's a nice savings to enjoy, right? 50% off the second one. It will discount the cheapest. So if you have 3 items in your cart and one of them is an embellishment from a suite and the other ones are much larger items, you might want to wait and not get the embellishment right now. Just saying. Let's see here. June kit, the one that I just shared with you, does have refills. So if you're not a subscriber, you can subscribe, activate your subscription, and then you can shop from the refills and all that stuff. So you can get parts of this kit. You don't get the stamps and the ink, but the refill kit is available for active subscribers. And I'm looking at my notes here trying to see what else there is, you guys. It is so much fun. I totally agree with you, Polly. Okay. That's it. We went for the full hour. Things are going well. Just some of you have been asking throughout. I've been noticing comments here and there. We're not sharing a lot of details, but yes, he's doing great, if you were wondering. We haven't shared photos, but Nick injured himself in a baseball game 2 weeks ago. He's doing great, but it's going to be a slow healing. So thank you for asking. Thank you for your prayers. He's in good spirits, and everything is going well, so thank you for that. My husband and my other son are enjoying their trip. It's been the trip of a lifetime for them. They're having fun. I hope to post pictures soon. And this blog post that's connected with the projects that I'm sharing today will go live, hopefully by the end of the day today. Again, just lots of things going on. So you just have to be patient with me. during these summer months, and we will get the images, photographs of these cards, and all the details in a blog post. I'll add that link in the video description, and that way when the video is done, you can click on it later, not now, but click on it, and then you can come to my blog post to see photos, a visual description, or a visual list of supplies, all that good stuff, okay? And the video will be linked in there too. That's it. I'll let you all go. And see, my cold is already better. I just had to start talking for the day. It's a mild one. So thank you for your well wishes. Thank you for your prayers. And you all take care. We will see you. Oh, I got to tell you when the next video is. My members, my YouTube members, the supporting members. So if you're paying the $5.99 per month, you get an extra video per month. And that is coming up this Saturday at 10 a.m. Central Time. So I hope to see you there. You will see a link in your membership area shortly before the time to go live. So just note it in your calendar. And if you don't know when I'm going live and you want to keep track, and Brenda, thank you for reminding me to remind people, there is a link. If you go to my channel and you look for the links, there's a link to my calendar. I also have a link to the calendar in my video description. Hopefully it works because I shortened it. But that should lead you to my Google Calendar so that you can see when my upcoming lives are. And there's also a way to save them, she said. You can add them to your own calendar. So yeah, play around with technology. Figure it out. Thank you, everybody. That's it for today. And we'll see you next Wednesday if we don't see you on the members live this weekend. Take care, everybody. Now I'd like you all to go and stamp your art out. Bye-bye.